What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Terence Bud Crawford, Canelo Alverez. This, people, is the official breakdown, fight prediction, and keys of victory. And of course, as we introduce this prediction video, we have to come in with the classic tale of the tape. That is right. We have Canelo Alverez coming in, his record of 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 by KO, compared to Terence Crawford's 41 wins, no losses, no draws, with 31 KOs. 520 rounds for Canelo versus 245 for Crawford. Height 5'8" for Canelo. Terence Crawford is also billed 5'8", even though I think he is probably an inch taller than Canelo, or a half an inch taller than Canelo, but billed the same. 71-inch reach for Canelo, 74-inch reach for Terence Crawford. Age 35 for Canelo Alverez, compared to age 37 for Terence Crawford. Orthodox for Alverez, and switch hitter for Terence Bud Crawford. Okay, guys, let me counterpunch. The keys of victory for Canelo Alverez is to cut the ring off, work the body, look for openings. Sometimes he may get them against Crawford because Crawford takes a while to warm up at times. So if Canelo ends and he begins quick, he may be able to pull a shocker. And based on the theory that this is his weight division, which he's been for a very long time now, he may be able to end the show with a punch or two, or just one punch. And one thing we know about Canelo Alverez, he is no stranger to punch placement, okay, to picking the right shots. In his later years, as we've noticed Canelo Alverez landing that one good shot to drop his opponents. The last couple fights that he's been with, the Belonga fight, the Jaime Munguia fight, he didn't get those guys out of there. But earlier in the fight, he gained respect. Okay, he made those guys respect him with his power. And I'm talking one punch power. The punch placement was there. He timed it just right, and he could do it that night against Crawford. However, Crawford, of course, is a different animal. He is not a Jaime Munguia, and he is definitely not a Belonga, okay? Now, I would say, for Crawford, keys of victory: be first, be sharp, and box often, but get Canelo's respect if you can. Go to the body yourself, but that comes with a risk of being countered. Both fighters, to be fair, are counterpunchers. We are known of Canelo to be a better counterpuncher than Crawford, but Crawford has his own savviness, especially when he's able to switch hit, meaning he changes stances. When he changes stances, he's able to do a lot in there, okay? Especially when he shifts, because what people don't understand about people like Terence Crawford, like Boots Ennis, okay? Those guys are able to shift, meaning they gain momentum off of crossing their power hand based on angle. So they can switch angles depending on what angle they're in. They can throw a power punch off that particular switch. Okay, so Terence Crawford is able to do that, and I think he's going to need to do that with Terence Crawford. Okay, it's safe to say Terence Crawford can land more on Canelo than Canelo can land on Crawford. Okay, and the scary thing about Crawford is he's a fighter. He's not an Edis Landilata. He's not a defensive technician like Floyd Mayweather. He's a little bit of both. And both fighters Floyd and Edislandi gave Canelo problems because both guys were able to move. Both guys weren't big guys. Like Terence Crawford's not a big guy, even though people are talking about the bulkiness and all this, that, and the other. No, I think he is fooling people. He's going to be around the same size that you remember seeing him. He's just prepared to fight. I think Crawford needs to work his jab, counter often, get the respect of Canelo Alverez. Because one thing we learned that Canelo doesn't like to cut off the ring. He doesn't. He feels that his punch placement and timing is enough. Well, it's going to have to be, because if it's not, he may be getting outboxed by Crawford. Okay. Canelo has the counter-punching ability to maybe put Terence Crawford down and away, but Terence Crawford can box all night long, and he can box in a way that he can and will stand in front of his opponent, especially if his opponent does get a shot off at him. And I see that happening. I see in this fight, Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are going to do a lot of fighting. It's going to be spots in this fight where Canelo and Crawford are going to have a standoff. And who does that benefit? That benefits Canelo. But at the same time, Crawford, I think, also has a way of landing that perfect shot, just like he did with Jose Benavidez. Even though those guys went to war for 12 rounds, in the 12th round, he was put down with the perfect shot. Okay, because Crawford will gamble with that, because he will stay in the pocket. You know, he will show Canelo Alvarez that, hey, I'm going to make you respect me. And then that's the big question mark. Will Terence Crawford be able to hurt Canelo Alvarez? And I would have to say yes. Will he knock him out? I don't think so. If he knocks out Canelo Alvarez, I think everybody will be surprised. But I think that Terence Crawford can hit hard enough to make Canelo respect him. And if he does that, he can do that again and again. And that will be when Canelo has to up the ante. And I think that is when Canelo will get pissed off and start throwing bolo punches. And speaking of bolo punches, Canelo has adopted a method of bruising you with those shots. Shoulders, forearms, elbows. This guy will wreck shop on you. And I see if Crawford starts getting to Canelo, I see Canelo going right for those target points. You know, because Bivol, even though Bivol beat Canelo, we seen the bruises. We seen the marks. We seen the scars, the war wounds from Canelo. So Canelo, his greatest attribute is the way he punches. And he punches with very bad intentions. And he punches really freaking hard. You know what I mean? So this is a boxer, a masterful boxer, moving up in weight and challenging himself against a guy that's been established and is considered not only the cash cow, but one of the pound for pound greats his damn self. Okay, because remember, a few years ago, Canelo Alvarez was on the pound for pound list. He wasn't up there with Crawford or Inouye or even Lomachenko, but he was damn close. And he was damn close for a reason, because he was getting guys out of there. Okay, so Canelo Alvarez is nobody to play with. Okay, and that's what makes this fight intriguing. Based on what I saw in training camp, I seen Canelo, you know, crossing his legs. I don't know if I like that as much, but, you know, he's going to need to cut off the ring. But then here's the thing. I don't think that he's going to have to cut it off like he thinks. This isn't a William Skull. Okay, this is a Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford, I think he needs to go to the body as well to slow Canelo down and have him worried about other things other than head hunting. Because a lot of times you think, I need to catch that head of Canelo, but Crawford fights very balanced. You know, I'm very intrigued to see how he will approach this fight, because we don't know if Crawford is going to come in orthodox or southpaw. My educated guess, Crawford's going to come in orthodox and change to southpaw. And I do salute Canelo Alvarez for bringing in Jaron Boots Ennis, because he does the same thing and he's able to do the same thing. I hope they capitalized on that. You know, Here's my problem. I think Terence Crawford can outbox Canelo. But I also think Canelo could drop Terence Crawford enough to win on the cards. However, the cards themselves may be corrupted. And like I promised you guys, this prediction wasn't easy. I had to think about this a lot. I don't go and reach. I just look at the facts. What are the facts? Canelo Alverez has 2 more fights after this, right? His first fight was with William Skull. His second fight is with Terence Crawford. And he has 2 more fights after that. What do you really think that means? I mean, what do you really think that means? That means that Canelo Alvarez isn't going anywhere. And I don't see Turki Al-Sheikh giving all the praise to Terence Crawford as though it may seem like, hey, this is my guy or whatever. Crawford would have to knock out Canelo Alvarez to win a decision, especially if it's close, because it's Canelo Alvarez that's already signed for 4 fights. Terence can't say that. So I say, and I think Terence would lose a close decision against Canelo Alvarez, and we'll go back to where we was 8 years ago, well, 10 years ago, because that's exactly what happened with the Lara fight. Even with the Floyd fight, you had CJ Ross calling this a draw when that fight indeed was no draw. So I don't think that Terence can win a decision. I don't. I want to be wrong, but I just don't think he can win a decision against Canelo Alvarez. But I think Canelo Alvarez has more than one way to win. The punching power may be too much for Terence Crawford. We don't know until we see, people. You know, this is not what you think. It's not, oh, well, no, because Crawford gets hit. Crawford get hit with that. He can get caught with that right hand. He got caught with Gamboa. He got caught with Mean Machine. He got caught with Jose Benavidez. He's got caught with a lot of guys with that right hand. You know, so Canelo Alvarez has a puncher's chance on top of the politics behind it. I think if Terence Crawford puts a whooping on Canelo Alvarez, I mean, with overall ring generalship, boxing ability, punch output, I think this fight will be a controversial draw. There, I said it. I think the fight will end in a draw. We haven't seen Canelo knock out somebody in a while, so what is reasonable? What do you think will happen in a fight like this? This fight's going to be a draw. Canelo's not going to win, and I think if Terence Crawford going up there after hopping 3 weight classes, think about it, 3, and doing what he did with Canelo Alvarez, they can't necessarily rob him, but they can't necessarily grant him the reward for beating Canelo because it's too much money behind Canelo. You know, because that's the only way I see it. If it's a knockout, wonderful, because nobody can do anything about a knockout or a stoppage. But if it goes to decision and Terence Crawford wins, he gets a draw. If there's a couple knockdowns or whatnot and it's debatable, Canelo wins on decision, granting him 2 more fights because Turki Al-Sheikh wants him to fight guys like David Benavidez and Hamza Shiraz. Okay, so those are fights that Turki wants to see because Hamza is his fighter. So I think that's how this is going to go, people. You guys tell me what you think about this breakdown, keys of victory, and fight prediction. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.